Hello everyone. It is a pleasure to greet you again. My name is Nieves Marquez, and I'm an Internationalization Officer at UNED, Spain's National Distance Education University. I will present the session about university development, cooperation, and strategic networks. After exploring the strategic framework of distance education and the UNED success story, and programs like Erasmus Plus or mobility programs as tools for internationalization from distance education perspective, in this session we are moving towards operational action, how to build solid bridges through cooperation and networking. In this session, we will focus on the instruments that allow universities to transcend their physical borders. It is not just about having signed agreements, but about actively participating in ecosystems that transform our institutions and prepare them for the global challenges of the 21st century. Let's start by defining our purpose. University development cooperation is not simply a transfer of resources. It is the set of activities we perform as an academic community to drive social transformation, peace, and sustainability. The work of the university in this field is closely linked to its essence: teaching, research, and knowledge transfer. By cooperating, we do not only help others, we strengthen our own institutional and academic capacity. In fact, according to the IAU 2025 report, current internationalization seeks mutual benefits and complementarity. It is no longer a unidirectional relationship, but an equitable partnership where we strengthen our institutional capacity through knowledge transfer and joint research. How does this translate into academic practice? Through three fundamental pillars: R&D and I for sustainability. This is an emerging pillar. Universities are integrating the Sustainable Development Goals not just as academic content, but as institutional practice, mitigating our carbon footprint in mobility and leading research projects that diversify economic growth toward greener models. Transdisciplinary environments. We foster spaces where different areas of knowledge collaborate to generate comprehensive solutions. Strategic networks. Technical and scientific cooperation multiplies when we work together with other centers of excellence. Many may wonder, how do we start scaling our international presence? The answer lies in academic networks and associations. In the current digital environment, these alliances are the primary vehicle for improving teaching quality and shared research. These networks allow local talent to connect with global resources, enabling institutions of any size to share infrastructure and knowledge that would otherwise be unattainable. The trend toward 2030 era invites us to create more geographically balanced networks. The International Association of Universities, in its report, highlights that institutions are breaking traditional barriers. Today, it is common to see young universities collaborating on equal terms with elite institutions through digital platforms. This democratizes access to global talent. To position a university on the international map, we must act on two fronts. 1. International fairs and congresses. These are meeting points to detect trends and learn about the offerings of potential allies. 2. International associations. Depending on strategic objectives, research, pedagogical innovation, social impact, we must choose the network that best aligns with our mission. Both spaces are fertile ground for finding partners and building solid project consortia. When seeking partners, the criterion is no longer just reputation, but alignment with equity and student needs. It is crucial to design mobility programs with an equality, diversity and inclusion perspective, offering scholarships targeted at vulnerable groups, indigenous, first generation, people with disabilities, and adjusting program durations to make them truly accessible to everyone. Participating in international events is not an expense, it is an investment in visibility. Networking allows the creation of synergies through direct contact, which generates opportunities for joint work that are impossible to detect from a desk. It promotes academic impact. The exchange of best practices directly improves the way we teach and manage our universities. These encounters are laboratories for co-creating localized equality, diversity and inclusion strategies. What works in Europe may not apply the same way in Latin America or Africa. Therefore, networking allows us to learn from institutional microclimates and adapt global policies to our regional realities. For effective internationalization, it is crucial to mark these dates on the 2026 calendar. Looking toward 2030, these forums will focus on inclusive and digital internationalization. COIL, the collaborative online international learning model, is consolidating as a key tool to offer intercultural competencies to students who, for socio-economic reasons, cannot travel, ensuring that no one is left behind in their global education. These events are the pillars of global higher education, and here you have some of the most relevant. The Association of International Education Administrators Conference, AIEA, focused on leadership and international education policies. In Global Impact, THE, focused on the elaboration of a ranking on social impact and sustainable development goals of universities. The NAFSA Annual Conference focused on international education and the world's largest fair for alliances and mobility. Participating in the AIE conference is essential for higher education institutions to build international partnerships, enhance global visibility, and stay current on internationalization trends. The World Academic Summit provides a platform to showcase research and collaborate on addressing pressing global challenges. UNED bases its international strategy on active participation in prestigious networks such as ED2, the European Association of Distance Teaching Universities, ICDE, the International Council for Open and Distance Education, IESAD, the Ibero-American Association of Distance Education, AUIP, the Ibero-American University Association for Graduate Studies, and the EUA, the European University Association. These platforms allow us to influence educational policies at regional and global levels, ensuring that distance education has a voice in decision-making forums. For example, Latin America has historically been a strategic region for UNED. In this regard, the university has built networks and partnerships with various countries in the region, leading to fruitful collaboration and cooperation that has helped position UNED as a leader in distance education and the development of digital pedagogy models and digital teacher training, among other initiatives. A recent milestone is the European University Alliances. This European Commission initiative seeks to create European campuses, where students and teachers move seamlessly between institutions in different countries, sharing resources, talent, and joint degrees. This represents the highest level of structural cooperation today. Within these alliances, UNED co-leads OPNU, the Alliance for the Open University of Europe. It is fundamental to understand its mission. OPNU was created to establish the first pan-European open university, a digital, inclusive, and green institution. Its goal is to lead the digital transformation of higher education in Europe, ensuring that lifelong learning is an accessible right for all, regardless of location or personal situation. With over 368,000 students represented, it aims to be the benchmark for pedagogical quality in the open education model. For UNED, it represents a great opportunity to consolidate distance education as a model of inclusive, accessible, and quality university education compared to the traditional model of on-campus university. Joining a consortium or network is no easy task. Jointly developing projects, conducting research, or organizing events requires proper and efficient coordination. To this end, there are several tips to help you get the most out of this cooperation and benefit the entire institution. In this regard, experience dictates clear rules. Anticipation. The search for partners must begin months before calls for proposals. Flexibility. Projects change. Being adaptable is key to success. Mitigation measures are always very important. Reciprocity. A successful alliance must provide value to all members equally, based on mutual trust. To build a truly successful partnership, we must view it not as a one-off task, but as a continuous collaboration cycle. It begins when you start early. Allow at least 3 months to engage partners and seek help from internal colleagues to leverage their existing contacts. Always have a plan B, such as guest lectures, should your initial strategy shift. Once your network is formed, you must understand partner needs by aligning mutual goals and set realistic expectations focused on achievable educational outcomes. Success requires us to embrace flexibility and allocate a budget for necessary expenses and gestures of appreciation. To truly stand out, offer excellent service by being proactive, and maintain contact through open, regular communication. Finally, remember to give proper credit and foster continuous dialogue. By following this cycle, we avoid duplicating work and broaden our impact across the entire educational community. Finally, the human and administrative aspects must not be forgotten. Involve staff. Managing international funds requires support from financial and administrative departments. Clear agreements. We must always establish a solid partnership agreement and, whenever possible, hold face-to-face meetings to strengthen ties and commitments between partners. For a cooperation to succeed, remember, plan ahead, ensure partners' objectives are aligned, involve your entire team, maintain clear intercultural communication, and, crucially, formalize everything through solid agreements. As a conclusion, internationalization is, ultimately, a collective effort. It is not about how many networks or associations we belong to, but about how many real connections we are creating to improve our teaching and research. So, here you have some examples frequently asked questions that maybe can help you to have a more clear view about internationalization and its instruments. Question 1. I don't have a budget to attend international conferences like NAFSA or EAE. How can I network? Physical networking is powerful, but digital networking is the first step. Many of these conferences offer hybrid modes or active LinkedIn groups year-round. Additionally, networks like ICDE offer free webinars and technical working groups to start building a reputation before buying a plane ticket. Question 2. Is it mandatory for all cooperation projects to have a sustainable development component? In the current European framework, yes. Most funding agencies, including the European Commission, require projects to demonstrate a positive impact on the Sustainable Development Goals or the green and digital transition. It is more than a bureaucratic requirement, it is how the academic world justifies its social utility today. Question 3. How do I manage the language barrier in an international consortium? The key is not speaking perfect English, but clear and functional English. We recommend sending written minutes after every meeting, using shared technical glossaries, and encouraging face-to-face meetings, as nonverbal communication helps build the trust that email sometimes calls. Question 4. My university is small. Can I lead a consortium or should I always go as a partner? Our recommendation for institutions starting out is to enter as a partner first. Leading a project involves a massive administrative and financial burden, audits, coordinating timelines across countries. Once you know the internal mechanisms from the inside, you will be much better prepared to lead your own. Networking and cooperation are crucial for successful internationalization in distance education, reducing risks while expanding global reach. By creating virtual connections and collaborative structures, institutions enhance their educational quality, widen their brand recognition, and offer global experiences to all members of their communities without involving physical travel. There is no single model. What works for UNED is only a reference. The success of your internationalization will depend on an honest and strategic diagnosis that prioritizes not just how many agreements we sign, but how much social impact and equity we generate in our academic communities. It is not about in how many networks or associations we belong to, but about how many real connections we are creating to improve our teaching and research. Thank you for your attention.